Hey, welcome to my living room. I needed to get my Kurzweil K2700 and K2500 side by side for one reason, and now is the opportunity for me to make again a comparison between these two. So I've been feeling a bit guilty because my previous comparison video was not very complete, and people have been criticizing the new K2700 that it sounds thin or dry, or the build quality, and I feel a bit guilty. Maybe my video had something to do with it, probably not, but I want to do a final comparison now between the K2500 and 2700. So first I want to say a couple of words about the build quality. I've heard people complain, oh, the 2700 feels low build quality. I kind of agree, but not completely. This is full metal, the cover is metal, and also the bottom is metal. And it's the same for the K2500, the bottom and top is metal. Knobs, of course, are plastic in both, and the ends are plastic on both. The K2700, the new 2700, is lighter than the K2500. I think that's a good thing. It's not indication of bad build quality. I have had opened the 2500, and I think the extra weight in the 2500s is mostly due to a chipboard, a very heavy chipboard, something like this, inside the 2500. So if you need to move it, it's hard work. Some people might think that it's more robust when it's heavy. I don't know. Anyway, but what I hate about the 2700 is that these surfaces have this kind of smooth, rubberish plastic. The control wheels, knobs, everything has this kind of smooth, rubbish plastic on it. And I feel really bad about that because in my experience this kind of plastic starts to feel like goo after some years, and it's like sticky. I don't like it. Dirt sticks to it, and after some years it might peel off and stick to your hands. So really I don't like it, but it's not a showstopper. If something happens, you can always, refurbish it by cleaning away this coating. So yeah, the buttons, these are silicone buttons, I think. Yeah, I don't like the touch of them. I prefer these kind of hard buttons like in the 2500. But again, no showstopper. I just hope if these fail, these buttons, that you can fix them. These you can replace by new components and swap the new buttons. But these kind of silicone buttons, I don't know. And then the build quality of the keybed. I like the 2700 because it doesn't rattle like the 2500. Another thing is that the 2500 has a fan. It's always keeping noise. The 2700 is dead silent, there's no fan. One thing in my previous comparison video was that I did include the effects program for the certain patches in the 2500 and the 2700. And those effects are very different in the 2700 and the 2500. The 2700, of course, has more modern, better effects than the 2500 because technology has advanced a lot in these years between these two. So yeah, so they are different, definitely, and then the comparison won't sound the same. But now I will compare dry sounds and having an external reverb to make it more natural. So the same reverb for both. I will play a couple of patches, but more about the effect. One drawback with the K2500 effect that there is some issues with noise in the effect. So let's demo that. First of all, some people complain that the 2700 sounds dry, meaning there's less effects. But that's just the slider number 9. For each patch, factory patch in the 2700, the slider number 9 controls the reverb level, and actually several sliders can control different effects. So you can have a chorus usually with the slider, I think slider 6 maybe, or 7, and echo is slider 8. So you can actually live, when you play, add some wetness to the different effects. So don't complain that it sounds dry, because it's up to you. Anyway, so I will play just a plain sine wave. The sound level is about the same in both. And now I can add effect to the 2700. It's full maximized, and there's a reverb. But what you notice is that there should not be any difference in the noise level when you don't play, when you add the effect. Now there's no effect. And then let's compare to the 2500. There I don't have a slider. I don't know if you can program even the slider to control the effect. But anyway, I'm in the menu. You can select wet or dry. Now it's 0% wet, so it's dry. But now you notice when I increase the wetness, you can hear there is a noise coming. So the effect is noisy. Actually, it's in the hardware. They do digital to analog conversion before routing analog to a digital effect. So there's a lot of analog to digital and digital to analog conversions, and that's what makes the noise. So that's a huge drawback of the 2500. Of course the noise is not like very bad, but anyway, compared to the modern 2700, you have some noise. Anyway, here's some reverb, and then I take away the effect, and there's no background noise. Then a word about algorithms. And some people complain, oh, they don't sound like the old good 2500. And they might sound thin or something. I kind of agree, but not fully. I think they have improved the algorithms, so they are different, some of them. But is it worse or better? Yeah. For example, the filter algorithms, I think they sound pretty much the same. You need to adjust the resonance a bit with the 2700. But if you do that, they sound the same. So let's compare the Memory Moog 4, which is using a low-pass filter algorithm. You might hear a slight difference, but really it doesn't matter. In a mix, you can't spot the difference. So here you see the algorithm for the Memory Moog 4, saw waves and a low-pass filter. And the low-pass filter has only one parameter, is the low-pass frequency. And in the K2700, the Memory Moog 4, also saw waves and a 2-pole low-pass filter, but this time the low-pass filter has two parameters, frequency and resonance. So I found that you need to put resonance to maybe -3 or -6, then it sounds the same as the low-pass 2 filter in the K2500. And one new algorithm in the K2700, not in the 2500, is the 4-pole Moog low-pass filter. It sounds like this. So it's a self-resonant filter, like the Moog filter usually is. And yeah, it can be useful. I wish they had made some kind of limiter because the self-resonance is very loud. Then the samples. The samples, factory samples in the K2500 are not all in the K2700. I have found a couple that are missing, but most of them are there. Some are well hidden, renamed, but they sound exactly the same. And when you convert or import some patches from the 2500, they are not correctly mapped to the correct sample in the 2700. So you need to manually find the correct sample to make the patches sound the same. And to help with that, Kurzweil has released this object Excel sheet with the names of the objects. So that's a great help to find. Let's check one example, the tenor saxophone. Initially, when I imported the Kurzweil K2500 to the 2700, it was not the same saxophone sample, but I found the correct one. And now I will compare two patches that were not identical in our previous side-by-side comparison, but I have improved them. So by choosing the correct sample and tweaking the algorithm parameters, you can make them sound identical, almost at least. And now there's no effects in the synthesizers, so let's hear. And this is the Enterprise. Don't blame me if somebody still hates the 2700. It has its flaws, but I like it. I don't regret buying it, but I do regret that I needed to spend a lot of time exporting sounds from the K2500, importing them to 2700. I have about 10 hours of music that is unreleased and it's not finished, and in many of those I use the K2500. I want to continue those projects. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you remember to press the like button and subscribe, and see you in the next one.